What's up, rich people? So I want to go over some advanced tips and tricks on how to use Metamask and generally how gas works in the Ethereum blockchain. I want you to be able to get into the next block and do the transaction you need to be able to do and whenever you want to do it. So let's say you need to get into an ICO, you need to make a trade immediately, you need to manage your leverage position when there's a lot of volatility in the market, for whatever the reason. If you want to get into the next block, you should be able to when you want to. And the best way to do that is to get a better understanding. Okay, so I'm going to show you we're going to do a pretend transaction here on Uniswap. So I'll pretend to trade that. And we're going to go over some of these numbers and what everything means. Okay, this is the default parameters of what Metamask puts in. I always like to check what they put in, and I'll explain why. So these aren't going to be that different. If you go to the advanced options, we'll go through these numbers. So the gas limit, so there's 30 million gas in a block, and Uniswap will use 190,000 gas of that block. I like to think about it as each Ethereum block has 30 million pieces of memory or data or processing power, and Uniswap will be using 190,000 pieces of that power, right? Now, the more complicated the transaction, the higher the gas the application will use. The simplest transaction you can make is just sending ETH from one address to another, and that takes 21,000 gas, just for some perspective, okay? You're not going to touch this number, but that's just to give you an idea of what that means. The priority fee is just a tip that you pay to the miner to incentivize them to take your transaction. Now, if you keep this at 2, that's 99% going to get you into the next block. Okay, keep that in mind. So the max fee is the combination of the base fee and the priority fee. So it's the max you're willing to pay in order to get to the next block. So how do you find the number to put into this category here? There are a couple ways. So first, you can go to Blocknative and you can see what the base fee is. The base fee is just the amount of gas, the amount of gwei you need to pay per gas in order to get into the next block. This is based on supply and demand. This is based on what's happening in the Ethereum network and how much demand there is to get into the next block. Okay, if you can check this out, we'll go here again. So this, what Blocknative is saying basically is they generally double the fee. If you put in double the base fee that it is now, you're 99%, they have the same number here, you're basically going to get into the next block. Now, if you put this number here, let's say you put it even 200, whatever, it doesn't mean that you're going to pay 200 gwei per gas. It means you're willing to pay 200 gwei per gas to get into the next block. You're going to pay whatever the base fee becomes for next block, whether it's 101 or 110 or whatever. Now, just also kind of a refresher or a heads up there too, gwei means a billionth of an ETH. So you could calculate this number by calculating 200 divided by a billion times this gas, and you're going to get the amount of ETH you're going to pay, and to get the amount of dollars you're going to pay is multiply that number by the price of ETH. So 204 divided by a billion times the number of gas, because this number means gwei per gas, so each gas costs 204 gwei. So 204 times 190,000, that's going to give you the amount of ETH, and ETH times the price, the amount of ETH times the price, which is 3,800 now, will give you the amount of dollars you're going to pay. Okay, just a heads up there. So that's one way, the Blocknative. I also just discovered Defi Saver, the Defi Saver application, the Defi Saver gas estimator. Now I like this because it gives you a little more data. Now it still shows, like, basically if you put in two gwei as a tip, you're going to be fine. It shows basically the same base fee. Now what it also shows is it tells you metrics on the max base fee that you're going to pay, that you can pay in 5 blocks, 10 blocks, 15 blocks. What this means is another kind of a little general understanding. So remember we said that there's 30 million gas in a block, but the network, the Ethereum protocol, aims for 50% full. That means there should always be room for everybody to get in as long as they're willing to pay. So if on one block there is there's enough demand that, let's say 20 million gas will be used, 20 million gas is used, the network will increase the base fee 12.5% for the next block. Okay, and because it's trying to increase the price or decrease the demand. Okay, and aim more towards 50%. That's what this means. It's increasing 12.5%. So this means that the max you can possibly pay within 5 blocks, which is about 75 seconds, because each Ethereum block gets transacted on an average of about 15 seconds. So within 75 seconds, if you definitely want to get into a block, let's say you're in an NFT drop or an ICO, an initial ICO, and you need to get in, the max you can possibly pay is 157 gwei within 5 blocks, 283 gwei within 10 blocks. So within 150 seconds roughly, and 509 with 15 blocks. Okay, that's just useful information, I think, just to give you an idea of where you're going to be at if you're just about to get into something you need to get, if you're just about to get into a transaction you need to get into. It also gives you an idea of where the base fee has been in the last week, month, or day. So you can see in the last month, the minimum basically is 29, and the max it's gone is 980. I'd say the average it goes to, and the average it's usually around, is like 80 to 150-ish. So if you see the gas at 300 and you don't necessarily need to get your transaction in, you could probably wait for it to go down a little bit, and it probably will in the near future. 300 or especially 900, that's really high. This gives you a pretty good idea of what you should be paying, especially if you're not in a hurry. It also has a neat trick of giving you a notification if you want that too, which is pretty great. Okay, that covers basically most of the information there. So I also want to show you guys how to speed up and cancel a transaction. Now hopefully you won't need to speed up a transaction given all the stuff we just learned, but on the off chance, you know, sometimes things happen, you need to speed up, or you made a mistake and you need to cancel a transaction, here's how you do that. So you can see here this transaction is pending on Etherscan, right? You can see all the info. So what you would do is Metamask actually gives you the option to speed up. Now when you speed up the transaction, all you're really doing is doing the same transaction, just increasing the gas limit. Okay, remember you could double this gas limit, you'll be fine. Go to 270. You really want to make sure this goes through. Give it to gas in case especially the gas gets away from you during either an NFT drop or a big ICO or a lot of transactions coming on that you didn't expect, and you really need to get your transaction in. You could definitely get your transaction in this way. Okay, but we're not going to speed up, we're going to cancel it. So we're going to cancel. Now what canceling does is, all it does is send a 0 ETH transaction to yourself, and you want to get that transaction in before your previous transaction with the same nonce. Now a nonce, you can see the nonce here. Nonce is 6. A nonce is just a number only used once. It's really just the number of transactions you did with your wallet, and it's an identifier for the transaction. It's a part of the part of the data included in getting the hash. So if you do a transaction with the same nonce, and if you want to cancel that, transaction, you do a transaction with the same nonce. It's faster than the previous transaction, so that it will invalidate the previous transaction. Okay. So in order to make sure this goes through, we're gonna increase the max fee. We're going to make sure we get in. Now remember, I'm not actually going to be paying 3 gwei per gas. I'm going to be paying whatever the base fee is plus a tip. This is just the max fee I'm willing to pay. Okay? and we're done. That transaction was canceled. The other transaction was sent. So we could check my wallet here. This transaction was just sent, and the other transaction was canceled. All right. Hope this information was useful. I hope you guys got a lot out of this. Hope you use this to make all the money in the world. Okay. Good luck.